Why cult leaders use sleep deprivation. What if I told you the fastest way to make someone obey is to keep them awake? You don't need to scream. You don't need to threaten. You don't even need to raise your voice. All you need is to control their sleep. Because when someone can't sleep, they can't think. They can't fight back. They can't process what's happening around them. Sleep deprivation isn't a side effect. It's not collateral damage. It's designed. It wears down resistance. It fractures attention. And it opens the door to suggestion. Cults know this. They always have. They don't just steal your time. They rob you of rest. And with it, your ability to resist. Part 1. The tactic. Sleep deprivation causes confusion. It lowers critical thinking. It increases emotional dependency. In just 48 hours without rest, the human brain becomes suggestible, vulnerable. Even mild sleep loss, just 1 or 2 hours, begins to alter your decision-making and emotional regulation. Over time, these effects multiply. When you're sleep-deprived, you lose the ability to analyze language. Your impulse control drops. Your emotional regulation fails. Your short-term memory becomes unreliable. You struggle to detect tone and social cues. Sleep doesn't just repair the body, it maintains your identity. Without it, you don't feel like yourself. You stop asking questions. You start accepting answers. You cling to authority because thinking for yourself becomes exhausting. Part 2. The method. Cults don't just keep you awake. They control when you sleep and who gives permission. They do this gradually, subtly. It starts with encouragement. Push through. You're strong. Then becomes expectation. Stay just a little longer. This is important. And eventually it becomes enforcement. Sleep is rationed, withheld, redefined. They hold long meetings that stretch into the early morning. They wake you up for spontaneous rituals. They deny naps under the guise of productivity. They celebrate those who resist exhaustion. They reframe sleep deprivation as progress, as spiritual growth, as strength of will. They say, you're transcending. The tiredness is your ego resisting. Sleep is for the unawakened. This reprograms how members view rest. Sleep becomes weakness, doubt, failure, and eventually you agree, not because you believe it, but because you're too exhausted to disagree. Part 3. The result. Once sleep becomes a privilege, not a right, your brain is theirs. You no longer choose when to rest. You wait for permission. You wait for the group, the leader, the schedule. You start repeating what you hear, not because you agree, but because it's easier than thinking. You stop trusting your instincts. Your internal compass dulls. You hesitate before speaking, unsure if your thoughts are even your own. You become loyal to the ones who control your exhaustion, not because they earned your trust, but because your depleted brain sees them as the only stable point in the storm. They call that devotion. They hold it up as spiritual growth, as transformation. But it's not devotion. It's cognitive collapse. It's a shutdown of independent thought. It's obedience through attrition. And by the time you realize it, if you ever do, the damage is already done. Ending. Sleep deprivation is not an accident in cults. It's not a consequence. It's not a mistake. It's a tactic used by cults, by captors, by interrogators, by manipulators who know.
O tired mind is a silent mind.
Because when your brain is begging for rest, it will trade almost anything to get it. Logic, doubt, resistance. Sleep becomes the reward. Compliance becomes the cost. And over time, the only thing you fear more than obedience is being left awake. This is not paranoia. It's pattern recognition. And once you understand the weapon, you'll never look at fatigue the same way again. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe.